Anthony Peterson, please report to the podium. Teresa Atkinson, please report to the podium. Well, as we fill up our podium, I'm going to take a few minutes to say hello. Thank you for coming to our meeting today for a great program. And I would like our greeters today to stand. I believe they were from East Valley, West Valley, Eisenhower, and Davis. If you're in the room, please stand wherever you might be. So we thank them for coming. And we are going to not waste any time because we have a great program ahead of us, and we want to save time for some questions toward the end. And at this point, I am going to have have David Rogers, who's standing in my wing here, introduce our music.
Thank you, President Rick, fellow Rotarians and guests. We will begin this meeting with two musical selections. First is Lift Every Voice and Sing. This was a collaboration of two brothers from Jacksonville, Florida. First of all, the words are a poem by James Weldon Johnson, who was a true Renaissance man and a man of many firsts, including being the first African-American executive secretary of the NAACP. The music was provided by his younger brother, John Rosamond Johnson, who went on to a successful career on Broadway and became director of the first elite music conservatory in the country targeted toward talented young black musicians. The song itself was written in honor of the birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It was first performed in 1900 by 500 school children at the Stanton School, which is a segregated school in Jacksonville where the elder Johnson was principal at the time. The Johnson brothers subsequently moved to New York and all but forgot the song. But those 500 children kept singing it. They became teachers and taught it to other children, and within 20 years, it had spread throughout black communities across America. The lyrics are a reminder of a long and anguished history of struggle for black people in America, a tribute to resilience and fortitude, and an exhortation not to forget the lessons of the past. But they're also, more importantly, an expression of optimism and hope for the future. Lift Every Voice and Sing was the musical bedrock of the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s, and it has become known informally as the Black National Anthem. This will be followed by a song written by Sam Cooke. He cited two influences. One was Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind, with a melody built around We Shall Overcome, which convinced him that it was not only professionally viable, but morally necessary to write his own song of racial protest. And after that, while touring in Louisiana, he was turned away from a whites-only motel. The song was written later that year, incorporating his own personal experiences into a larger statement about black suffering and endurance, and again, a fundamental spirit of optimism. A Change Is Gonna Come also became an anthem of the civil rights movement. Joining us this afternoon to share these songs is the daughter of Pastor Murray Bradley and First Lady Tanya Bradley of Greater Faith Baptist Church here in Yakima. She's a member of the praise team, graduated from Davis High School in 2018, where she won numerous awards for music across the state. Since that time, she's been cast in several musicals at Warehouse Theater, and she's currently pursuing studies in entrepreneurship. Please welcome Trinity Bradley.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise rolling skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. I was born by the river in a little tent, and oh, just like the river I've been running ever since, 'cause it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. 'Cause it's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movies and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around, 'cause it's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Oh, then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But then he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there've been times when I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on, 'cause it's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will, 'cause it's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Trinity. Hey, Trinity, can you come back every Thursday? Could we arrange that? That's fantastic. Thank you. You may be seated. Next up, we have our invocation today by Anthony Peterson.
Thank you. That was a blessing for all of us. President Rick, fellow Rotarians, our esteemed guests, welcome to the kickoff to the Black History Month Yakima style. I was asked to do the invocation for this wonderful month, and it's fitting because my frat brother, big brother, Carter G. Woodson, established this holiday as it used to be Black History Week and evolved into the month. And with that saying, in the spirit of my fraternity brothers, I wanted to share a poem by my other fraternity brothers, Langston Hughes, called I Too. This poem is fitting to where we are as, I think, as an organization, as a community, as a nation, and globally. So with that being said, I Too by Langston Hughes. I too sing America. I am the darker brother they send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. But tomorrow, I'll be at the table. When company comes, nobody I'll dare say to me, go eat in the kitchen. Then, besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed because I too am America. With that, please bow your heads and close your eyes and join with me in a prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you for this time of fellowship. We thank you for equipping us with power, love, and sound minds to overcome systematic exclusion and systemic racism through listening, learning our history, and creating meaningful ways to fellowship and learn each other's cultures. Now, we are all at the table. We are all eating together, and we see how beautiful we each are. But instead of being ashamed, let's work to advocate and continue to build one another up. Lord, I ask you for this strength. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, for the poem and the eloquent words. And, appreciate it. Thank you. Could I ask Bob Harrison and Rosalind to come forward? And while they're doing that, I would like all of our guests who are here today to stand up, just so that we can recognize you, acknowledge you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. So I don't know if I should ask the members to stand up because, I don't know, it might be a tie. Be close. Thank you for attending. So we have a new, one announcement. There is a Rotary Membership Retention Committee meeting after our meeting today with Chris Hales, the chairperson. And so if you're a part of that committee, please hang around to meet with her on some important business, because membership retention is an important business. At this time, I'd like Bob to come up and introduce our new member.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to see all of you again. What a wonderful day to come together and share and remember. I have the pleasure and opportunity to introduce our newest member, Rosalind Oglesby. Not only is she going to be a new member of Rotary, but she's a relatively new assistant city manager, so significant part of our leadership here at the City of Yakima. And she gave me a little bit of background information which describes her her business and educational achievements, which are important, but not all. So I did make a few extra phone calls to make sure, and and I have a little bit more to share with you, but she'll be doing her induction ceremony next week. And so Rosalind has over 20 years of experience working in state and local government, with most of those years at the local government level. She's currently assistant city manager with us here at the City of Yakima, and she oversees information technology, grants, economic development, neighborhood development, and the airport. And she also represents the city in a variety of community organizations, including DAY, the YCDA, are just a couple of those examples. And before arriving here in Yakima, she worked at the city of Portsmouth, Virginia, in a variety of roles during her time there, probably 16, 17 years, I think you were there. And she finished that assignment as the assistant city manager. And it's there where she really honed her skills and her passion in working in local government. She's an ICMA credentialed manager, and she got her certified public manager designation from George Mason. She's a graduate of Leadership ICMA, the Senior Executive Institute at the University of Virginia, and she earned her local government management graduate program at Virginia Tech. She's got her master's degree in urban affairs and a bachelor's degree in political science from Norfolk State. In addition, she completed her coursework on the PhD level in public policy and administration at Virginia Commonwealth. She loves spending time with family, reading, and watching movies, especially on the Hallmark Channel. And one channel I don't usually get to except for Christmas time, but that's okay. Yeah, and she has one daughter, which I've had the pleasure to meet. She did come out here, and there was no snow, I think I remember right, so she had a good time, and hopefully we'll move here to Yakima, and 2 dogs. And so just wanted to, as I said, reach out to a few folks who've known Rosalind over the years, and one of those individuals, Amber, said, I served with Roz in her leadership ICMA class. She was always creative, came up with terrific solutions, always found ways to include people on the team, and built strong and lasting friendships with all of her teammates. And Sarah said, I appreciate her fresh approach to look at intractable problems and seeking successful outcomes for everybody. And Lee said, she's so smart. And Basil, who doesn't communicate well because it's her pooch, actually, her dog, but she did let me know she really appreciates getting up every morning early and getting towards the downtown, and she really likes the parks and fire hydrants. So thank you for sharing all that area for Basil. Basil's an important part of her life. So, and Eric said, I am so excited to have her here in Yakima. She's a game changer for leadership in this community. Connie said, she's so funny. She's got such a tremendous sense of humor. I look forward to talking to her every day. And there were many, many more. But I'll finish by saying what Bob said, and speaking of myself in the third person. I'm grateful she decided to join our team and become part of our community in Yakima. She's a tremendous colleague. She's a terrific manager for her teams. She's a teacher and mentor for all of our new employees, and effective in getting things done, and an all-around great person. I'm grateful to have her here in leadership at the city, and I think she'll be just a tremendous addition to the Yakima Downtown Rotary. So with that, let's welcome Rosalind Oglesby.
All right, Rosalind said I could cut off the ovation. But Rosalind, welcome to our club. I know you're not a stranger here. We've seen you before, but now you get to become an official member, and I am going to start by giving you some hardware here. First of all, a red badge. This will be replaced by a blue badge once you go through a short little process of information and education. There's a plaque here to go on, as I tell all new members, any wall that you want to put it on. Our Rotary roster, where a lot of these people are in here, so there you go. And a Rotary license plate holder to put on the back of your car so that when you go back to Virginia, you can show them. Oh, you charge for advertising. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you have come all the way across the country from Virginia, mostly Virginia, to Yakima, Washington. you could have gotten a little bit farther away if you'd gone to Seattle or the coast, but we're glad to have you here in Yakima and hope you're enjoying it. Welcome. Teresa's right here. She is our sergeant of arms, so be careful. Here she comes.
I am not that tall. Hi, everybody. All right, we are going to do Sergeant at Arms. For those of you who are visiting, because there are a lot of you today, please do not feel like you need to participate in this. And for those of you who are members, let's get them dollars out. All right? We're going to quiz you on some Black history. Yep. I was told to make it hard, but not too hard. Esther Huey said it was too hard. I had to take a couple of the questions out. So, and then Sonea, Randy, and I had to do some research on one of them. So we got a little bit of something in here for everybody. You ready? Okay. All right. There are actually 955 cities throughout the whole country with the name Martin Luther King Jr. on them. The one in Yakima was named in what year? Who said that? Of course he did, Reverend Trumbull. Thank you. It was, in fact, 2006. Which really surprised me. That was pretty recent. I only moved here in 2008. All right. Here's the one that I got Sanea and Randy's help with. Who was the first Black City Council member in Yakima? I'm going to give you a couple of choices. A or B, Henry Beauchamp, or B, Dr. Bill Simmons? A. Everybody who said A, pay $1, because it was Dr. Bill Simmons. He then moved to Tri-Cities before his term was up, and that's when Henry Beauchamp joined us. Mm-hmm. Esther said we'd get you on that one, just saying. All right. Shirley Chisholm, did I say that right? Chisholm was the first Black woman to be elected to the U.S. Congress in 1968, but what other office did she run for? A, governor, B, president, or C, vice president? If you said anything but B, pay $1, please. She ran for president, which I found extraordinary. All right, let me keep up on my notes here. I put them on my phone so I wouldn't have to do this, but look at me anyway. The Tulsa Massacre was remembered for its 100th anniversary last May. It's believed around 300 people were killed and an entire community destroyed in 18 hours. How many people were eventually charged and convicted of crimes during that night? 13, 5, 50, or 0? D. I was told to keep this serious. That one was pretty shocking to me. And this one, this is the hard one for y'all. Wangari Maathai, I hope I said that right, was the first Black woman to receive the Nobel Prize in 2004. What did she receive that award for? Bioengineering, environmental work, or astrophysics? Nobody wants to guess anymore after that Dr. Simmons one. B is correct. Yeah, if you guessed anything else, actually, if you still got money in your hand, go ahead and pay that $1. We're collecting money for our trust, I think. Is that right? The trust? Scholarships. Scholarships. Are you going to talk about the Molly David scholarship? No, not today? All right. First time, everybody. Thank you very much.
Well, of course I was going to talk about the Molly Davis Scholarship, Teresa. Applications are out there online, and if you know of a student who is looking for a scholarship, it's a 4-year scholarship, and they can go online and fill out that application and get the process started. All right. Somebody is poised to come back to the microphone. He hasn't been to the microphone much in the last, how many years has it now been? 3 years. But past President Eric Silvers to introduce our program.
President Rick, fellow Rotarians and guests, thank you, Yakima Downtown Rotary, for 15 years of celebrating Black history in Yakima. We have had speakers that were from every walk of life, Rotarians, sports, politicians, civic, education, as well as business. We've talked about sustaining these programs and celebrating the importance of them, keeping this program along with other programs to represent our ethnic groups in our community. What we're doing in Yakima, Downtown Rotary, is something that is totally unique to our city, to our Rotary clubs, to our district, to our state, and even to our nation. You know, we have established an ad hoc committee during the George Floyd social crisis. The ad hoc committee is now known as the Racial Justice Committee, and we've had symposiums on different racial topics that will help organize, and these people have helped organize the different programs that we've had, and the one like we're having today. So I would like to have all the ad hoc people, all the ad hoc members, would you please stand so that way you could be recognized? Thank you. We are hoping that this committee is going to be a formal committee with our Rotary Club in the future. We would love to have more community members as well as other Rotarians to be able to be on here so we can serve to educate and also to help remove that racial barrier throughout educational activities. Jesse, thank you for coming to Yakima. We really appreciate you spending a few days with us. And by the way, Jesse is going to be speaking tonight at the Henry Beauchamp Community Center at 5:30 for a dinner that Miss Huey is cooking right now. And that is at 5:30 tonight. And Jesse, I got to tell you that Yakima Downtown Rotary, we're a big club in a small town with a big heart. And we're doing big things not only in Yakima, but we're also doing big things all around the world. We are people of action, and we change lives.
Back up. All right, I think now is the time to introduce our speaker. Casey Core is going to do that for us. Thank you, Casey.
Hello, everybody. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." Today, we hear from an individual who works on that arc of the moral universe. His name is Jesse Wineberry. Jesse will tell us about the role he and others played in creating the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday in Washington and his ongoing work to promote justice and opportunity in our state. Jesse has had a remarkable career. He earned degrees from the University of Washington, Seattle University Law School, and the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. At age 29, while still in law school, he was elected to the Washington State Legislature, where during 5 terms, he focused on an agenda devoted to equity, entrepreneurship, and economic development. Outside his law practice and work in statewide civil rights issues, Jesse has been active in business. He founded Broadcast Urban, a pioneering webcast company, and a film production company, Broadcast Urban Filmworks. Jesse today lives in Seattle and is the proud father of Jesse Jr. and Mia. He and his wife, Rochelle, an attorney and multiple sclerosis survivor, are both active in the National MS Society. Jesse has made a career out of making our world more just and humane. He has bent the arc of the moral universe. would you please join me now in giving a warm Rotary welcome to our next speaker, Jesse Wineberry.
Thank you so much, Casey, and thank you to the extraordinary members of the downtown Yakima Rotary. It's really good to be back. And I say back because some of you are seeing me for the first time over here because you probably are too young to have been born when I first came to Yakima as a state representative. But Reverend Trimble actually came up to me with something that you probably cannot see from where you're sitting, but it's Share the Dream on the occasion of the historic observance of the first national holiday declared in honor of the life, works, and philosophy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. The Washington State Martin Luther King Holiday Commission, Yakima Division, invites you to share the dream at its first citywide commemorative service at the First Presbyterian Church, 9 South 8th Avenue. The guest speaker is the Honorable Jesse Wineberry, Washington State House of Representatives, Olympia, and co-chair of the Washington State MLK Commission. This was Sunday, January 19th, 1986. Reverend Trimble, thank you so much. I know I'm not going to run off with this. I know you have some bigger plans for this, and yes, it's okay. You see, it's him. So, and thank you, Casey, again for that introduction. I never thought of myself as tall enough to reach the moral arc of the universe and bend it down, but I think we're all doing that. If you're in this room today, it's because either you or someone right ahead of you has paved the way for you, either educationally, economically, socially, politically, philosophically, environmentally. I think we all, as a global community, bending the arc so that an entire society can rise higher. Speaking of rising higher, I always start off all of my remarks by first giving honor to God, who is the head of my life and source of all power. I also give honor to the downtown Yakima Rotary. I'm told this is your 15th consecutive year dedicating one of your entire meetings to Black history in Black History Month. I particularly give honor to Downtown Rotary President Rick Fairbrook, past President Eric Silvers. I didn't know you played the piano until I walked in the room. You never said that. He and I are members of an organization, Washington Equity Now Alliance. It's a statewide organization, and we often open our meetings with music, but I didn't know until now Eric was a musician. These meetings are every Saturday at 7 in the morning. So from now on, Eric, I need you to open those meetings with music. Give him a hand, please. I also give honor to Yakima OIC President Anthony Peterson, who for quite some time was the interim president, and the folks who, after seeing his leadership, and I think he may have done a head fake acting like he was going to go back to Tacoma, they said, no, you got to stay. So they kept him here, and all of Yakima is better for young leaders like Anthony Peterson. And then finally, I give honor to someone who I don't know if she's with us. I just heard that from Eric that she's somewhere cooking, but you know who I'm talking about. I call her the conscience of Yakima County. The conscience of Yakima County. The matriarch who has changed the lives of so many young people, Mrs. Esther Huey. I don't know if you know this, but Mrs. Huey has been instrumental in personally raising a few kids. Not one, not two, not 5, not 10, not 15, but over 20 young people have been pulled under her wings, and she has been the mother to all of them. Biological mother to only 2 or 3, but the mother to all of them. And there needs to be an award at some point that's given to that lady. I love Esther Huey, and I know you do too. Finally, I think it's appropriate to let you know a little bit about me that was not in the introduction, and I have to begin by giving honor to the Yakima Nation at this point. I'm a proud African-American man, but my family has lineage that includes the Native American Blackfoot tribe. And so I'm honored to acknowledge we are on the ancestral lands of our brethren, the 14 confederated tribes and bands of the Yakima Nation. We thank the caretakers of this land who have lived here and continue to live here since time immemorial. Please put your hands together in thanks to Yakima County's original landlords, the Yakima Nation. One thing I promise all the time when I'm speaking to groups and audiences is that I'm not going to be one of those long luncheon speakers where I talk and talk and talk, and you listen and listen until I bore you into a permanent coma. This is a participatory speech, and here's how it works. I'm going to tell you some things today which are truly inconceivable, and some of them unbelievable. And when I tell you these things, I'm going to say, don't take my word for it. When I say don't take my word for it, I need you to say loudly, Google it. Let's try it one time. Don't take my word for it. Google it. Okay. We'll try it again. I'm going to get, this side of the room was great. I'm going to give this, no, I mean you were. This side of the room, there's a lot of students that are here. And I spoke to them yesterday. I was at Davis. I think I spoke to 3 groups at Davis. Then I went over to Eisenhower, spoke to 2 or 3 more groups at Eisenhower. So they're bored with me by now. But I'm going to give them one more chance to wake up. Don't take my word for it. All right, okay, all right. Hey, give yourselves a hand. I think we're ready. I talked about how sacred this land is, and I actually stepped foot on this sacred land last Tuesday at a place called McAllister Field. You know where that is? That's your Yakima Airport. And for the last month or so, I've been thinking about, what is my message going to be? What am I going to say? What is my message going to be? And I'm getting off the plane, and I'm walking from the gate to baggage claim, and I go through this area that's called the security exit lane. You guys are familiar with this, right? I mean, I know that airport is so big, you're wondering, where was I, right? I mean, what part, what division? But I think you know where I was, right? I'm walking through this gate, and all of a sudden this voice comes, and it says, "Don't stop. Please move forward. Don't stop. Please move forward." And I was so amazed that I made the mistake of stopping. And people behind me were like, you know, running into each other and everything. And they said, "Didn't you hear what he said?" I said, "That's amazing. That's my theme for the Rotary. Don't stop. Keep moving forward." I couldn't believe it. And so that's what I'm here to say. But I got it from you. I mean, that airport, I did a little bit of research, and I found out that the airport is owned by the city of Yakima, even though it serves the whole county. That's amazing that the city is footing the bill for the whole county, for the whole airport. But hey, I don't want to get in the middle of that. But that, I'm going to tell you, I fly a whole lot. I mean, I flew from Washington, D.C. to Seattle. That's 3,000 miles. That's 2 airports. Then I jumped from Seattle to here. You add another airport. I'm leaving here. I'm going back to SeaTac, from SeaTac to LAX, from LAX to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. I mean, that's like 5 or 6 airports. And I do that on a pretty regular basis in terms of the businesses that I work with and the organizations that I work with. I've never heard that message at any other airport. Don't stop. Keep moving forward. Right? That ought to be our message in life. Because there's always going to be obstacles and barriers and opponents that want to make you stop. Whether you're in high school and you're trying to get to college, there are people in high school that don't want you to go to college because they're not going to college, and so they're telling you, you don't have to do that. Don't stop. Keep moving forward. Whether you're a senior like myself and people are saying, "Hey, why don't you sit your butt down? You're too old. You got nothing to give." Don't stop. Keep moving forward. The Rotary is probably one of the best examples in history of not stopping and keeping moving forward, because when I was in the legislature, I served in the legislature from 85 to 95. I served with 2 governors. Now you're thinking I served with 2 people who were governors at the time. No. I served in the legislature with not 1, but 2 people who became governor. One of them was my seatmate at the time, representative at the time, soon to be governor, Gary Locke, the only Asian elected governor in mainland United States of America to this day. We served in the legislature together. We were seatmates in the same district. The second governor I served with, you probably don't know him, tall guy, says he plays a good game of basketball, by the name of Jay Inslee. You ever heard of him? Is the mic working? Let me see it. Jay Inslee. That's your guy. Oh, okay. I'll talk to a few of you after this. But he used to be the state representative right here. It started right here. Then we got together and made him governor. Anyway, this is a time in history when a lot of people are saying, "Stop to America." We have a governor, elected governor, in one of the largest states in the United States that is telling the schools in his state to stop and not move forward with a curriculum that teaches African American history. If it's African American history, that means it's American history. Why would a governor not want all of his citizens, particularly the next generation, the young children, to know their full heritage and history? So even as we sit here today, there are government officials who are not saying don't stop, keep moving forward. They're saying stop, don't move forward. So that's why that announcement had such an impact on me, because it was Yakima saying to everybody who arrived in Yakima, don't stop, keep moving forward. The Rotarian history showed that when Jay and I and Gary and others were in the legislature in 1987, there was a Supreme Court case where Rotary and all other private male organizations, business organizations, were in a lawsuit because women wanted to be part of these organizations. And many of the men in those organizations wanted women to be able to be members. But the rules at the time said no. If the women want to do something, let them go do their own thing. But they were not going to be members in this organization. Well, the Supreme Court had a different idea. They voted 7-0. All 7 justices who were there at the time, there are 9, don't think I don't know that there are 9, but only 7 weighed in on this particular opinion. The other 2 had conflicts. Guess what their conflicts were? Right, they were men and members of private male organizations. So they had to recuse themselves. And the 7 who were remaining, voted unanimously to overturn those rules and to open the doors for women and men to be a part of the same organization. And I'm told that there were members at that time in Rotary and these other male organizations who actually said, we quit. We won't be a part of an organization that allows women to be equal members of the organization. But the Rotary did not stop. They kept moving forward. They opened the doors wider, and to this day, it's my understanding that they're not only members of the downtown Rotary here, but you've also elected several of them to be president of the organization. Where's Erin? Is Erin here? I haven't met her, but I'm told that the incoming president that is going to be the next president, her name is Erin. Is she here? She's in Tacoma. Okay. Make sure she gets back to be sworn in on time. I've just been told that Jennifer Bleasner is here, and she was stand up, please. Now, I know a number of you think, he's making all this up. What, a Supreme Court decision? They needed a Supreme Court to allow men and women who used to be boys and girls to have, membership in the same organization. But hey, don't take my word for it. I'm not making up any of these things. And the one thing that I particularly am proud of, that don't stop, keep moving forward, is because as I came through, there were also a number of young people who were coming through that same section. There were also a number of parents who were bringing their smaller children through that same section. And as I got on the other side and I just stood and watched the people who were coming through, and every time a person stepped in that area, that announcement was made, I said, that is so motivating to every age, every generation, every gender, every race. Don't stop. Keep moving forward. The Rotary did not stop, and none of you should stop. as you seek to hand off a city and a community that represents one Yakima. I was able to see over the last 24 hours an eastern and western Yakima. And every time I was in either side, the people who were taking me around were very eager to say, "You're now in East Yakima. Oh, now you're now in West Yakima." You know what's behind that better than I do. But I sense that if you were to come to Seattle and visit me, and I took you around, I may give you the names of some communities, you know, Capitol Hill versus the Central District versus Laurelhurst, but I probably wouldn't say this is North Seattle and this is South Seattle and this is East Seattle and this is West Seattle. The goal is one Yakima. The goal is one Washington. It doesn't mean we all have to think alike. It doesn't mean that we all have to agree. But that has to be our vision. Barack Obama, as a senator, gave that vision in his route to the White House when his speech at the Democratic Convention said there's not a red America and a blue America, there's one United States of America. That's the lesson that we have to take from that, even though he's no longer president, can apply to our lives today in a micro sense. Where there may be differences and divisions, we now can unify. We all have been given a second chance at life. Some of you may take a global pandemic that encompassed the entire planet, killed more than 1 million people in the United States of America, killed over 700 people in Yakima County, and we're still here as something that we should take for granted. No. There's a reason why we're still here. Because something bigger than us, higher than us, recognizes that each one of us still has work to do, still can benefit this planet, still can benefit this society, still can build this nation, still can unify this nation. Any of the 743 people who died during COVID in Yakima County could have been you. Think about it. There's maybe, 250 people here today. Almost twice the meeting of this size didn't make it. They're gone. We've been given this second chance to devote our lives to something bigger than us. Something so big that we can leave the next generation to build on further and higher. So if you believe that you deserve the second chance, if you believe you're now going to make use of the second chance, give yourselves a hand for what you're going to do the rest of this year and the rest of your life that you've been given to. We got a lot of work to do. If you believe in diversity, and I've never been in an organization that had that on the wall. At Rotary, we have no tolerance for racism. Then you're soon going to learn why God or whatever the higher power you believe in has left you here, has given you this second chance, because as a member of the U.S. Supreme Court Bar, we have privileges. And one of them is that I can at any time go and sit in the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., and listen live to those cases that the justices are hearing. And so I was there on October 31st, listening to the oral arguments. The majority of those justices are looking to eliminate affirmative action for women and people of color across the country, across the nation. There are two cases. One, students for fair admissions against Harvard, and the state case, which will affect us more here, is student for fair admission against University of North Carolina. So whether it's a public college or a private college, there are forces at work to make sure that fewer of our young people, women and people of color, get a college education at any level, whether it be community college, basic training, what have you, junior college, 4-year, graduate, and they're looking to do it not just in the public colleges, but in the private universities and colleges. How much you earn in America determines how much you learn. I said this yesterday to one of the classes. How much you learn in America determines how much you earn. They realize this. So the less they can allow us to learn, the less we will be able to earn. That does not help the American economy. The American economy thrives when everyone is able to do their maximum and their best and have their greatest opportunities to earn and learn without any ceilings. So keep a close eye on those cases. The other reason we have a lot of work to do is because of a guy by the name of George Floyd. You may by now all know the names of the Memphis officers who sound a little bit like a law firm. Martin, Mills, Haley, Smith, and Bean. Sound like a law firm, right? Those, it's not a law firm. These are law enforcement officers who took the life of Tyree Nichols. And you've seen the video by now. If you haven't, go to YouTube, check it out. Even the police chief said that there is no evidence that this young man was committing any crime. But yet the laws that would have been enforced under the George Floyd Police Accountability Act have never been passed. It's sitting in Congress, waiting for you. You may think, oh, what, we got to get up from Yakima and go to Washington, D.C.? No. Just call Senator Patty Murray and Senator Maria Cantwell, two other people who served with Governor Inslee and I and Governor Locke, who are now your U.S. senators. Urge them to vote for the George Floyd Police Accountability Act so we will have laws that allow police to protect our communities, but also protect innocent people from becoming victims of criminal activity, criminal law enforcement. The third and final piece of work we have to do is to inspire our young people to exercise their rights. Without most of our rights that we have as individuals, we would not be able to sit in this building today. But if you do the history, you'll find that most of those rights were not won by older adults. They were advocated and successfully won by young people. One person I'm going to give you now is going to shock you, especially when you look over to that corner and you see Rosa Parks. Her name is Claudette Colvin. Claudette Colvin was 15 years old in 1955, and 9 months before, Miss Rosa Parks was arrested for sitting in the white section of a segregated Montgomery, Alabama bus. Claudette Colvin, 15 years old, was on that same bus system coming from school. She was sitting in the colored section. For those of you who may not be aware, back in those days, a bus was split up in 3 parts. In the front, it said whites only. In the middle, that was a neutral section. In the back, it said colored only. This young lady, 15 years old, was sitting in the colored section. However, the bus was packed, and a white lady got on board and told the bus driver to make one of those Negroes give up their seat. The bus driver obeyed, put the bus in park, walked to the back of the bus with the white passenger, and told the wrong little girl to get up. Claudette Colvin, you got to get up and let this lady sit down. Claudette said the following: I paid my fare, and the teacher at school just told us that we have constitutional rights. So I am not getting up. You need to ask somebody else. Don't take my word for it. Oh, you guys are such shock about Claudette, you almost missed it. Let's try it again. Don't take my word for it. Claudette Colvin had to be drugged off the bus, kicking and screaming. They threw her in the back of the the bus driver called the police. 3 guys, bus driver, 2 law enforcement officers, Montgomery police, threw her in the back and handcuffed her. She went to jail. She was convicted of violating the segregation laws. But an attorney by the name of Fred Gray took her case and added others who were also in it, but not Rosa Parks, went to the highest court in Montgomery, lost, went to the highest court in Alabama, lost, took it to the United States Supreme Court. And the United States Supreme Court ruled that the laws, the segregated laws in Montgomery, Alabama were unconstitutional. Claudette Colvin, 15 years old, was right. So what I'm saying to the young people and to those of you who are parents and grandparents of the young people, the constitutional right does not kick in when they're 18 or when they're 21. The constitutional rights of Americans kick in as soon as they're born. And if they're not born here, as soon as they become citizens when they get here. So there's no reason for young people to sit silent when they are witnessing injustice. There's no movement in the history of the United States that was led first by senior citizens, except AARP, of which I'm a member. Nearly every other movement was led by young people who were under 18, under 21, like Claudette Colvin. Generation Z, you're already on your way. First person from Generation Z has now been elected to Congress. First person from Generation Z has now been elected mayor. Amanda Gorman is now the Youth Poet Laureate. Remember her when Biden got sworn in? The hill we climb? GZ. These are young people coming up, and they are ready. So when you see them, and you see them exercising their First Amendment freedom of speech rights or freedom of assembly rights, if it's a woman, say, go, girl. If it's a guy, don't say boy. If it's a guy, say, get him. You know, give him a fist bump. Because this generation is reflective of what the Yakima airport is telling every passenger right now. Don't stop. Please keep moving forward. I don't want you to hesitate with this message that I'm giving you. I want you to take action now or the next opportunity you have. Because of the time that's been given to us after a global pandemic, we still remain, we are the survivors. Benjamin E. Mays, president of Emeritus College, said it best. You've only just a minute, 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but you know that you must use it. You will suffer if you abuse it. Pay account if you don't choose it. Just one tiny little minute, all eternity is in it. Well, Yakima Rotary, this is your minute. This is your minute to encourage young people to exercise and lead because they have their constitutional rights. This is your minute to keep expanding, as Rotary does, awareness and education of American history, which includes Black history, which includes Hispanic, Latino, Mexican American, and Latinx history, which includes LGBTQIA+ history, which includes women's history, which includes seniors' history. All of our history enables us to look backwards, get the knowledge, and then lead forward. And that's what we must recommit ourselves to today. I'll give it to you again. You've only just a minute, 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it. But you know that you must lose it. You will suffer if you lose it. Pay account if you abuse it. Just one tiny little minute. All eternity is in it. God bless you, and happy Black History Month.
Wow, thank you, Jesse. That was amazing. And I think what you have just done is you have given the next Rotary president, after Erin, because I think she's already, probably already has her theme, but I think there's a theme out there that could be used. Don't stop, keep moving forward. So the next Rotary president, whoever you are, keep that in mind. It has a good sound, good ring to it. I'm just going to ask Jesse, the young lady, 15-year-old on the bus, was she not just given an award or recognized? She's about 80-some years old right now? Yes. And that, I think this has been the first recognition that she's received maybe since the event. I don't know, but it was... you want me to say it? Yeah, go ahead.
He just saved my head from getting cut off. Thank you, yeah. I mentioned earlier Washington Equity Now Alliance that Eric and I are members of, Anthony and I are members of. First of all, we invite all of you to join that meeting. You know what time we meet, and you know, but you don't have to get out of your house and go drive. It's all on Zoom. That organization just presented Claudette Colvin the Young Warriors Award. She's 83 years old, like Rick, right? Right. Like Rick explained, she's 83 years old, and she piped in from Corpus Christi, Texas, and gave remarks accepting the award, and was not offended in the least that we were giving her a Young Warriors Award, because she said, that's actually how I felt at that time. When that man was trying to tell me to stand up, and I had paid the same fare and I knew my constitutional rights. She's still saying it at 83 years old. And so, yes, and it is my hope that possibly Winna may actually next time be able to bring her to Washington State so we can make that history. And I guess, now I'm not saying take down Rosa and put up Claudette, because Rosa came next, but there's interviews of Rosa and her family, and they say that Rosa was inspired by Claudette because Claudette was in the local newspaper with her photo and everything showing that this kid had been arrested. So it's kind of like a relay race, you know? One person has the baton, starts off, goes around the track once, hands off to the next person. And so Claudette handed off to Rosa. Rosa handed off to Dr. King. Dr. King handed off to the rest of us. And now it's time for us to hand off to the next generation.
Don't stop, just keep moving forward, right? Okay. Thank you, Jesse. I'd like to invite you to stay afterwards, because I imagine many of us might still have some questions we'd like to pose to you, or at least be available to do that. I am going to just take another minute to talk about yesterday, because I spent most of from about 7:30 in the morning until when it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon with Jesse and Eric. But when he went to the schools, one thing that really stood out and impressed me, he went into a classroom and he said, you know, my name is Jesse Wineberry. And then paused a little bit. He said, well, something's unfair here. And I think, well, what's unfair? Well, what was unfair was that, and one of the students got it. One of the classes said, well, you don't know our names. So he went around and shook the hand of and was introduced to each student in every class. And it really had an effect, I think, on the students. And it just makes me think about Rotary. As we come into our meeting, we had, about 8 or 10 high school students join us today, there to greet us. And COVID's behind us. Maybe it's still a little hesitant, but let's shake each other's hand. Let's greet each other. Let's introduce ourselves and get to know each other. So thank you for inspiring me with that, Jesse. All right. Let's see. We have, I do want to say that we make a donation to Rotary's Polio Plus campaign in honor of all of our speakers. So thank you very much for your participation in that, just by being here. Next meeting, Jeff Antonellis Lapp, Mount Rainier and Climate Change. He's going to be here at the Convention Center, followed by Karen Troyanella, My Life with Title IX, also at the Convention Center, and then Bete Demiki, did I say that right? Project Mercy update. We had a project in Ethiopia that Project Mercy was involved in, and Bete will bring us up to date on what's happening there, and I think there are some other needs that we're working on as well. I think that is it. Thank you for your attendance today and your participation. Jesse Wineberry will be here to answer any questions you might have. And again, Jesse, thank you for making our event today very special. And on that note, we are, can I use this, Carolyn? Adjourned.